Well, let's start with Money in the Bank.
All right.
Because I think that started first.
It did.
Then Craig can leave.
Yay.
We should do Collision first just to be dicks.
If you want to leave now and then come back?
We watched WWE.
See, Curryhead cares.
WWE Money in the Bank, July 1st, 2023. It opens. Now, I knew, except for the main event, I knew zero about this show going in. Absolute, complete zero.
Same.
So this match begins. I see Logan Paul. It's the men's Money in the Bank match. I see Logan Paul, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Butch, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, and a masked man I did not recognize, who I then realized was not wearing a mask. He was wearing blue meanie makeup. It's Santos Escobar. Is this a permanent thing, or because they were in England he was doing a Beatles tribute?
I think he was doing something because they were in England.
I see.
A Beatles tribute?
The blue meanie.
I see.
Yeah. Where do you think he got it?
Understood.
Yeah. So the first thing I noticed is that the fucking camera work in the show is motherfucking horseshit. Appallingly bad.
Wow.
Constantly. I was so outraged. There's a point where like ducking a clothesline, hitting a punch required 4 camera cuts. Now, the show is still very good despite all that, but God, that's annoying. It hasn't been this bad in a long, long, long time.
I actually thought it was better than it had been in a long, long time. Of course,
I didn't notice any of this.
So the crowd did not like Damian Priest. They really hated Logan Paul.
Yeah, they did.
They were indifferent towards Ricochet, Nakamura.
It was Aztec war paint, by the way.
I see. And Escobar. They liked Butch a little bit because he's English, but the guy they really liked was L.A. Knight.
Blew my mind.
They loved themselves some L.A. Knight. And
well, if you would have watched SmackDown, L.A. Knight was the biggest star on the entire show.
Okay.
And, I will say this about L.A. Knight. Like, they knew that L.A. Knight was super over because they gave him a lot of spots in this match where you thought he was actually going to win.
Yes.
But the difference between WWE, a year ago and WWE today is now they're very much in the stick to their plans sort of deal, except when Vince changes something at the last second.
Right.
But, everything, if you look at everything that Hunter has done since he started, it's literally been exactly as it had been intended. Like, Sammy and Roman in Montreal, that wasn't something they decided in February. It was like that was the plan for months and months and months and months. And the plan was for him to lose. And so, whatever you thought about that finish in Montreal, that was the plan. They're sticking to all of their plans. And the plan was not for LA Knight to win Money in the Bank, and it didn't matter how much people loved him. The whole Damian Priest thing, the eventual split with the Judgment Day, this is all part of a plan that they are doing, and it necessitated him winning Money in the Bank. So they did give LA Knight a lot, and I did hear from people that were at the show, fans, it was like they wanted to see him win, but it wasn't like they were angry that he didn't win at the end. They accepted Damian Priest as the winner. They booed because he was a heel, but, it wasn't like they were going to walk out of the show because LA Knight didn't win. They wanted him to win, but they pretty much figured it wasn't going to happen.
There was no hijacking going on. But that is the story here, is that they did everything they could to make you think LA Knight might win. Only in the end for it all to be yanked away, and Damian Priest won, and we'll go on with there. But, as a match, it was a lot of fun. It was much less insanity than ladder matches in the past, although maybe the most insane thing I've ever seen in a ladder match, in that they tried to do a spot where a ladder would tip over, and Logan Paul and Ricochet would both springboard off the top rope and go through a pair of tables on the floor, and something went haywire. They both ended up hanging there in the ropes, and Ricochet's spur of the moment decision to try to save this was to grab Logan Paul, who was in his 4th or 5th match ever, and do a Spanish fly through a pair of tables on the floor.
Well, Vinny, believe it or not, that was the plan.
Wow!
And it was even crazier because the ladder was supposed to tip. They were supposed to fall off the ladder and land standing on the top rope, facing opposite directions, and immediately springboard into a Spanish fly through the tables.
Okay.
And it, of course, went wrong. And then, as they're desperately trying to gain their footing, Ricochet just decided, fuck it. And he jumped, and they went headfirst through the table. Logan Paul was nearly killed. It looked like he went headfirst, but it was actually shoulder first because his shoulder was bleeding everywhere, and he had, clips on social media of his shoulder all over the place, just bleeding everywhere. But that was their plan. Like, if you watched it, it was like crazy-ass shit. But if you realize what they were actually trying to do, that was even crazier.
Actually, yes.
Crazy ass.
What happened is less crazy than what they had in plan A.
The crazy part is they thought they were going to pull it off without any hitch. They thought they were going to be able to land on the top rope. And they ended up landing on the second rope. And they got all tangled up. And if they would have taken a beat and then, a one Mississippi to gain their footing and everything, it would have been so much better.
Maybe. But here's the thing at the end of the day. If I were Vince and they would have said to me that they wanted to do this spot, I would have said no. Okay? But once you get it approved, it's like, brother, you just got to do it. Like, you can't even think about it. You just have to let that ladder tip and you just got to go. And that's what they tried to do. But then it didn't work. And then they panicked. And it got worse.
Nuts.
So a few other notable things here. They found a way to actually construct a ladder bridge in the ring and have it look natural, like not just that they were playing with an erector set and making a building for no reason. I forget the parties involved, but they tried to thrust a ladder into a guy's gut as he was leaning against another ladder. That guy dodged, and thus the ladder was placed right where it needed to be to set up a ladder bridge later.
I think that was Ricochet and Nakamura.
Probably. And then right before, it should be noted, right before the Spanish fly spot with Ricochet and Logan Paul, there was some bits going on there where it looked like nobody could figure out what was going on or be in the right position, so things got a little wonky in the end there for sure. But then LA Knight is running wild. The announcers are openly saying he's the most popular guy, the one the fans want to win, so you know he's screwed. And in the end, he's at the top of the ladder, but Priest suplexes him off and wins. So to recap, some very good wrestling, some high-level celebrity involvement, some god-awful camera work, and the guy the fans like most losing. This was a WWE match.
Bro, everyone's all up in arms at LA Knight, but what do you want him to do? Have him win? Then what? He has to beat Seth and become world champion? He has to lose the briefcase? Like,
if this is, it's a pattern. It's been a pattern for years.
Well, it kind of is, but like, I heard the same thing. The Usos are never going to beat Roman. Jey Uso's never going to pin Roman. It's not going to happen. I heard that over and over, and he did. Because they're going somewhere with Jey and Roman Reigns, but they're not going anywhere with LA Knight right now in the title picture. So at the very least, like, give him a lot of spots, make him look good. He had a good showing here. And then, he can wrestle Gunther or whatever. You can slowly start moving him up, but I wouldn't say throw this guy into the world title picture with Money in the Bank. The problem with Money in the Bank is all the times they've given the briefcase to some rando, and then they give him the briefcase and they don't know what to do with him. Remember Otis? Oh, we have a funny idea. He's so fat that he can't step on the ladder because it breaks. Well, we'll do a deal where we'll steal from the YWF, the briefcase falls and he grabs it. But now we don't want this guy to be fucking champion. And so 8 months later, they do a bunch of stupid storylines to take the briefcase off him. He lost in a bet or some shit. It's like, I would much rather they had a plan for somebody like Damian Priest, and he won, and they're going to do whatever they have planned with Damian Priest, than just put it on a guy that's popular.
Two things. When they would set up ladder bridges, they did it twice. They did it once on the floor and once in the ring. I have never seen ladders stay so solid. Usually when you put it on the ropes, it gives a little extra spring in it. These guys were hitting this ladder, and the ladder was not budging, and the guy underneath just gets crushed time after time. It was brutal. Also, this crowd...
Well, we're into it.
Oh, my goodness. I love this crowd. It reinforced one of my things on my bucket list is going to see a concert in England. I love the English. I just love them.
I'm not necessarily saying that LA Knight should have won Money in the Bank, Brian. I'm just pointing out a WWE trope is having the guy the fans want to win the most losing.
Well, yeah, because the fans sometimes decide who they want to win, and it's not the time. This has happened many times, but this is not one of those times. This is just, guy's popular. But it's LA Knight.
Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I applaud Liv Morgan's Jerry Halliwell tribute. That was a great touch. Wade Barrett is claiming this business is a meritocracy after the most popular guy, the one everyone wanted to win, didn't win. Michael Cole claims that Shayna Baszler's moniker is snap, crack, or tap.
I never heard that in my life.
Indicating he does not know what a moniker is or what it means. So they had a fun little tag match. The heels were great bullies, going with constant submission holds, and Liv is a tiny little great babyface in peril, and of course Raquel Rodriguez is a giant, great hot tag person. And it was funny because Raquel got the hot tag, went to the top rope. Ronda tried a flying arm bar, but Raquel is big and strong and just didn't go down and powerbombed her instead. And suddenly, I don't know what was going on, but there was another heat segment on Liv again. It was odd. And they yanked Raquel off the apron to block a tag. Shayna had the Karafuda clutch on Liv, and Liv was able to escape that, but still couldn't tag out because Raquel was nowhere to be seen. And Ronda's in the ring, and suddenly, for no reason, Shayna Baszler lays out Ronda from behind, chokes her out. The baby faces go through the motions of hitting some moves on her and pinning her. And that's how they won the titles. The champions broke up for no logical reason. I was actually really enjoying this match for the completely nonsensical finish.
Well, the finish is nonsensical because they started teaming up in January, and the idea was that they would go 7 months and just run roughshod over the tag division, and they would plant seeds for a split, and then they would split. And what happened was Ronda got injured. She broke her arm, and we had several months where she couldn't do anything. And as Dave noted yesterday on Observer Radio, she is leaving at some point. And so you could not delay this. They had to do their breakup here because they're going to do their big match at SummerSlam. And I don't know if she's gone immediately after SummerSlam or whatever, but apparently it will be well prior to WrestleMania. And I know people have got up in arms about how dare Ronda, why does she want to leave, blah, blah, blah. I think it's a personal reason, which is going to become patently obvious here shortly, why she's made this decision to do this. But in order to get the match with them at SummerSlam in a stadium, which is a match that they want to do, Ronda and Shayna, they had to do the breakup here. And yes, did it make sense? No. But Shayna can explain, you know, carrying Ronda, broken arm, whatever she's going to explain. But that's why they had to do that here on this show.
I just assumed that I missed months and months of TV because, well, I have. And there must have been some backstory. But this, by the way the crowd reacted, it was obviously out of the blue, and the crowd reacted as such. Also, does Ronda always carve the last initial of her opponent's name in her forehead now? Is that new?
What?
She had the letter M on her forehead.
I think that's just her face paint, dude. That's her mean-looking face paint.
She does wear mean-looking face paint.
Yeah. Plus, she had 2 opponents. So
Understood.
Yeah. I think she's done this before. Dragon Ball Z reference.
Ah. All right. Well, there you go.
Okay. That explains everything. Thanks.
Actually, I will point out one more thing. A Twitter user, Adam Cleary, summarized this better than I could. This will be the one wrestling tweet I do all year, but Shayna Baszler wearing Sons of Horus ring gear and then betraying her partner, literally doing her own Horus heresy, has sent me absolutely daft. And
wow.
And Shayna later just simply said, "Let the galaxy burn." She's the world's scariest nerd, you see. Damian Priest, you've won Money in the Bank. What are your plans? I'm going to be a champion.
Well, they did this to explain to you that he can cash in for any title. That's the new thing. It's not just world title, universal title, because that's the thing. Exactly what I was talking about. They gave the Money in the Bank to Austin Theory and then did not know what to do with it because they weren't going to have him become the world champion. So eventually they came up with the idea for he could challenge for a secondary title. So that's now the new rules. You can challenge for any belt, except presumably like the women's title.
Does that mean you can just grab a tag partner and what's the matter?
Don't see what
Yeah.
You had a
you
glitched. Yeah, you went all max headroom on us for a minute.
Awesome.
So, as noted, I did not know anything about this show going in, and suddenly, before my eyes, on a Saturday night, I am watching Gunther versus Riddle.
Yeah.
Yes!
This was a great 7-minute and 45-second match with the best finish ever.
Ever, period, ever. So, I'm watching these men fight like men. And they're mentioning Gunther, the great Intercontinental Champion, is starting to threaten the Honky Tonk Man's record. And I began to envision a Gunther versus Honky Tonk Man match. God, that'd be awesome.
No, Vinny, it would be horrible,
I mean,
in fact.
You don't see Honky taking these chops?
No.
Actually, the chops are the one thing I could see him taking. He ain't taking no bumps.
That's
No.
fair.
Not even on his own move.
So, Riddle's got a bad ankle going in, so of course Gunther's targeting that ankle. And I think it was Wade who was talking about Gunther's single-minded focus on being the world's best damn wrestler. Gunther doesn't go to clubs. He doesn't have fun. He just trains, plans. So they take turns beating the hell out of each other. Every once in a while, Gunther will just be a dick and work that ankle over, and every once in a while, Riddle will do a high spot. But essentially, they just hit each other really, really hard for my entertainment. The crowd loved Gunther, I should point out. Gunther's got like an ankle lock on, and Riddle is stomping him from his back much harder than you would think a guy from his back could throw stomps. They're doing camera cuts on these shoot stomps. Riddle is running wild. He goes to the Broton, but gets caught in a choke because all Gunther does is train and plan. So this goes on for a while. Riddle comes back as a floating bro for 2. Crowd is chanting, "This is wrestling." And then Gunther's running wild. He tries his ugly Mack truck splash at the top rope, but just as Riddle was caught when he tried the Broton, Gunther is caught here, and he's caught in a triangle choke, foreshadowing a payoff in this match. He power bombs his way free, goes to the half crab, and he's had enough of this fucker. And it's time to end things once and for all. And he grabs that foot, that bad ankle. And if you didn't watch the show and you're hearing about this for the time, you think I'm making this up, but I swear to God, it's true. He chopped the piss out of this ankle.
His foot.
Either way.
He chopped his foot. He chopped it, and he
That was the
chopped
sole of
it,
his
and he
foot.
chopped it.
Big, giant overhand slaps the foot. And he cooks on this ankle lock, and Riddle taps out. Ah! Love this. Love this match so much.
Yeah, Dave wasn't into this match. I don't know what match he was watching. I thought it was great. And people are like, well, it's kind of one-sided. Yeah, it's fucking Gunther, dude. Gunther is, another record breaker here. He's on his way to the Honky Tonk Man's record. They're trying to build him up as the most unstoppable guy they can build him into. And that's his role, dude, to kill blokes. And he killed this guy. And Riddle got stuff. Like, Riddle got to do things. But the dude's got a bad ankle. He's got a busted ankle. I'm going 50-50 with Gunther with a busted ankle? I don't. He got his ankle chopped. Got submitted. I thought it was great. And then Drew returns.
Oh, I didn't even get to that, yes.
And old Drew McIntyre, he never got that big WrestleMania moment as champion because of COVID.
Right.
And that big moment was him being able to do 3, 2, 1 and hit the Claymore. And, I don't know if he's going to, I don't know if he'll win that title, if he's going to stick around or what. But he came back here, and this place went absolutely batshit crazy. And this fool Gunther pie-faced him.
Oh.
And so Drew gave him the big headbutt. And by the way, we were just talking about this the other day, like those clunking headbutts in the Ishii Moxley match. Drew did a totally worked, fake, slapped the legs headbutt, and man, that thing sounded like a gunshot. The place went nuts. And then he hit did the 3-2-1. Crowd chanted 3-2-1 so loud. He hit that Claymore. He laid the dude out. This was an awesome return. And we've got Gunther and Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental title at a stadium for SummerSlam. And I would not be the least bit surprised to be sticking around if Drew does his 3-2-1 and wins that title.
Drew is in fantastic shape. He chiseled out of stone. He looked awesome. Almost as awesome as the quality of this match. This was so much fun. They dumped each other on their heads. They slapped each other really hard. What could you ask for? This was a great great fun match. Nice touch was Gunther ripping off the tape of the ankle that Riddle had taped up, and then chopping the sole of his foot. Best thing I saw all weekend.
Let's not overlook one thing here about Drew's return, which is that Gunther just had this. It was not the longest match of all time, but he was in a fight here with Matthew Riddle, a dangerous UFC veteran. And out comes the former world champion, fresh as a daisy, haven't been seen since WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre. He gets in that ring. Gunther, who I'll remind you, the manliest man who ever lived, picks a fight. Now, he lost the fight. It was a bad decision, but
still.
It was a brave decision. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. This was the first half of this is Dominic trying to run away, Cody running him down, throwing him back in the ring.
Well, he runs away because Cody came out with his gimmick on his arm because he's allegedly got a broken arm, but turns out the arm is healed, and so he rips the cast off, and Dom thought, well, I better get the fuck out of here then. Yeah. And he went running, and he got caught.
So he got caught. Rhea Ripley's getting involved to run interference here. And it occurred to me that we need to see a pair of singles matches here. Now, usually it would be, of course, Cody versus Dominic and Rhea versus Brandy. But honestly, I think it'd be much more entertaining to see Cody Rhodes versus Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio versus Brandy Rhodes.
Sure.
Those both sound awesome. So, Rhea is, in fact, the one who interferes to give Dominic what little... it's just, there was not a lot of heat segment in this match. There was a constant back and forth. A seesaw matchup, back and forth, as Vince McMahon used to say. But Rhea drops Cody into the steps. Dom follows with a tope and posts him and tries to win by countout. There was about 2 minutes of heat, mostly just the crowd singing songs. Then they cut each other off 1,000 times. Dominic tries the 619, gets caught with an Alabama slam instead. And Cody gets a Cody cutter, gets the crossroads, and the victory. This was a good match.
Well, you know, he's a big baby face. He was super over. He sold an incredible amount of merch. Dom's hated. And so it was a good atmosphere. But at the end of the day, Cody's having a stipulation match of some sort with Brock at SummerSlam. And so big dominant win here. And I thought it was good. Good match while it lasted.
Yeah, this was almost a squash. And I was completely fine with it. And man, that Dominic's a heat magnet. My goodness.
And people hate him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Very rude.
It's awesome.
Very rude. And I should add, by the way, of all the times we've made fun of Downstate and the Cody Rhodes theme song, the crowd was singing along with the verses.
Who the fuck has ever made fun of this song?
Yeah.
This song is great.
And then it occurred to me, we need AJ Styles before the London crowd, but using his TNA theme. That I want to hear the crowd sing. A surprise guest. John Cena is here.
See, I don't mind the fans singing Jericho's song. I don't mind the fans singing Cody's song. I don't like him singing Seth's song because the song sucks. You ever notice that? It's not even a song.
It's
just
three
like,
notes.
Yeah, it fucking sucks, dude.
It's like
get a good song and have him sing it.
Someone watched a football game, listened to the crowd singing Seven Nation Army. So, you know, this is good, but wrestling fans aren't this smart. We need to dumb it down. Cut the number of notes down. It sucks in football, too.
Like, honestly, here's the thing, everybody. People, you know, they get on me for not liking this and everything, but what you guys don't seem to remember is that Seth was a heel, okay? And he got this music. And this music is the most simplistic, shitty song there's ever been. And so I think this all started because fans were sarcastically singing along with this dumb fucking song, and then it, like, caught on and ultimately turned him babyface. But it wasn't like they started singing the song because he was a good guy and they were, like, supporting him. Like, the song fucking sucked.
I feel the same way about Barbie Girl by Aqua.
So, you've been holding in that bit of hatred for 20 years now. John Cena comes out. They're rapping along to his song, and not just the "your time is up, my time is now" part. The verses.
It's incredible.
He's so excited by this that after the music stops, he gets them going again, and they rap it again a cappella. So Cena's out here to talk about how great London is. The first premium live event in London in 20 years. These decision makers don't know how to feel about London, he says. It's kind of a hostile environment. Sometimes they think you fans are a distraction. And the crowd goes, boo! And Cena says, sometimes they think you try to take over the show. And they go, yay! So he's here on behalf of them. You're underappreciated. You have earned my respect, he says. And they all say, thank you, Cena. They love him so much. And he notes that they don't like when we, the wrestlers, stop and let you, the fans, do that, singing or chanting, whatever you're doing.
You know what's so weird about this whole fucking thing? So, this whole thing was just like, it was mind-blowing to me. So he's out here saying that the company doesn't like when you fans have fun, okay? And he says they don't like when you're singing or whatever and we pause to let you do it, right? That's what he said.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't like when the fans sing and, do whatever, this whole fucking show was booked to give these fans the opportunity to do all of those things. Not to mention, Dominic did an interview recently, and I think it was Dominic, but he was basically talking about how, Vince went to a show and Dominic was on it. And maybe this actually wasn't a Dominic interview, but I heard this. Essentially what happened was Dominic was doing his deal, and the fans boo him and everything. And every time he tries to start talking, they boo louder.
Sure.
And literally Vince's advice to him was, don't talk over them. Let them... So this whole Cena promo is like a weird load of shit, which... Like, I couldn't figure it out. Like, why is he healing the company? Because the company doesn't hate when fans have fun. They don't like when they hijack shows, but nobody in England was hijacking the show. I mean, what, they sang for Bailey and she's a heel? I mean, that's like the only thing I can think of where, like, someone got the, quote, wrong reaction. I mean, everything else, you think they did all that LA Knight stuff so that the fans wouldn't cheer? No, it's fucking by design so they would cheer for LA Knight. So it was just really weird for him to come out here and claim the company didn't like all of these things that actually the company does like. And then he's like, oh, we got to come here for WrestleMania. And that was weird, too, because this was not a shoot. Like, this was clearly by design.
Right.
They want to outdraw, Wembley at some point. Mm-hmm. But, a WrestleMania, there are a lot of logistical issues and financial issues in the sense that, as Dave mentioned last night, they want to get paid by the city to come. And London don't need to pay anybody to come to London. That's all people do is go to London. So I don't know if there's, like, this is not imminent, but clearly it was by design to get, people clamoring for WrestleMania to come to London and eventually try to get London to pay them to bring WrestleMania to London. But it was just a really weird promo.
So eventually Grayson Waller comes out, says they should do WrestleMania in Australia instead. He knows John Cena's on a losing streak. You lost Austin Theory. You lost to Roman Reigns. You lost to The Fiend. You need a viral moment being on my talk show at WrestleMania in Australia. To which John Cena has the best deadpan reaction, where he simply says, so you want me to fly to Australia to get a rub from Grayson Waller? I'm going to pass. And he goes to leave, but Grayson won't let him. They go back and forth a little bit. Eventually, Grayson jumps in from behind, and I don't want to alarm you, he loses the fight. Cena hit plants with the AA and wins.
Yeah.
This is a hell of a thing, is all I can say about all
Well,
this.
what I got out of this was this is classic WWE in that Grayson Waller did not need to talk for 15 minutes, but this was a Vince thing, where it's like, talk until the people hate you, and then talk for like 5 more minutes, so they just can't wait for Cena to hit you with the move. He just fucking went on. And I like Grayson Waller. I think he's got a lot of charisma. I think he's a great talker. He's going to be a star. But fuck me, this guy talked for an hour. And finally, Cena laid him out, and Cena could not have gotten out of this building faster. I mean, he was fucking sprinting out of there after he laid this guy out.
It's funny to hear John Cena get that reaction. Just nothing but positivity.
He thought it was funny as well.
Yeah.
He knows that.
It was really cool, actually.
Women's Money in the Bank match.
Also really cool.
Trish Stratus versus Zoe Stark versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus Lena Vega versus Becky Lynch and her totally awesome gear in tribute to Siren of the X-Men. Made me very, very happy. It was not Jean Grey, as a lot of you thought. It was Siren, who is, of course, a fairly obscure X-Man and also Irish. So, it's freaking...
Got all that, Brian?
It's freaking 2023.
I can't even...
It's 2023. I'm watching Trish Stratus take bumps off ladders and regretting it.
Yeah.
And then taking bumps onto ladders.
This woman, I cannot put over more
Yeah.
Bro, and you know what? I'm a very unique person to be able to do this because I am the same age as Trish Stratus. She is 47 years old. She'll be 48 in December. We're 6 months apart or whatever. And I also came back after a long time off. And holy fuck, she's fallen off ladders, dude. They did a spot which actually was like, it was goofy, and they probably watched it back and were kind of like, that was kind of weird. But like they turned Trish into a ladder bridge. Like, her human body was a bridge.
Yes.
So that Zelina could walk across her body. But her poor face is smashed on the ladder. And I don't know if that's where it happened, but she had this giant bruise on the bridge of her nose. It may have been broken. And she's fucking falling off ladders from way up, okay? Yeah. And, yes, some people will go, well, it wasn't a flat back bump or anything. You're right, it wasn't. But you know what? When you're 47 years old, you can jump off something high and land on your feet and just totally, absolutely, completely destroy your knee. In fact, it's not even when you're 47, because Zoe Stark, that's how she destroyed her knee. She jumped off something and landed on her feet, and her whole knee exploded. So Trish out there doing all this stuff at 47 years old is just, it's like crazy. It's like Sting.
It is literally crazy.
Yes.
It is literally insane. Yeah, the Trish's nose, either it could have been the ladder bridge spot, or there was the part where she fell off the ladder, her face hit the rope. It looked very bad, and she disappeared for a long time. But yeah, she does not have to be doing any of this shit. And she is. So, yeah. So we had a lot of storylines going in here. Becky Lynch trying to win in the United Kingdom for her fellow Euros. You had Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark working together and working well. And by contrast, at the same time, you had Bayley and Io Sky working together and working well until they didn't. And they have there's a point where Bayley and Io are running wild, and they set up the ladder and suddenly realize only one of them can win this thing. And there's tension. And it gets broken up there, but it comes back to play later. They do the same ladder bridge setup the dudes had done earlier, and the crowd noticed because they chanted, "That's the same thing," or maybe sang, "That's the same thing." But it still worked. And Zoe is taking out Bayley, pulls out handcuffs, and they call on Trish, and Becky, not Bayley. But they are able to get one set of handcuffs on Becky, but they ain't covered anything. She runs wild, whips their asses, and yes, Trish Stratus took a manhandle slam onto a ladder. Ow. So, Trish is killed. Zoe was working with her. Now she has no choice but to try and win it for herself. She climbs the ladder with Zelina, and they trade camera cuts until Zelina hits a code red onto a ladder bridge. Now, Io climbs, and
that was completely fucking insane, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Io goes to climb, but out of nowhere, Bayley tips over the ladder to neck her. And you understand something. This is the UK crowd. Cena noted they didn't always cheer for the people they're supposed to cheer for or boo for the people they're supposed to boo for. They have been singing the Bayley song all night long. They love Bayley, and they love Bayley, and they love Bayley. But man, when Bayley tipped over this ladder and cost Io Sky the match, no more singing! No more support for this Bayley character. This crowd was pissed. So she goes to climb. Becky appears with the handcuffs and fish hooks her with the handcuffs to pull her down the ladder. But as the two of them are fighting, Io recovers, reaches essentially through the ladder, and handcuffs Becky to Bayley, so they are both stuck in the ladder. They cannot get free unless one or both of them tears their arm out of the socket. Neither was able to do that. And it was absolutely brilliant, creative, never seen it before. And Io was able to climb over both of them and win. I love this match. It was fun. It was creative. It was intelligent. There was storyline going on. There was contrast going on. Great action. And everyone was happy with the winner. Huge thumbs up.
I thought it was very good. I thought the men's match was much better just because, I don't know, it was just, they did a lot crazier things, and, I'm not rating it on the crazy things they do, but there were some things in here that were like, they weren't perfect, but overall I thought the booking was pretty good. I thought the finish was fucking awesome. And Io won, and, not a deal, I presume, where she's going to lose the briefcase. She'll probably end up winning the title. But yeah, this was, This was a very good for what it was. I will say that. It was not the best women's Money in the Bank ladder match I ever saw, but it was good.
I thought the finish was super creative. You didn't even see Io Sky. She's completely out of the picture for a good 4 minutes. And she was an afterthought. She was not on the screen until they had Becky and Bailey fighting on the ladder, and then Io appeared from nowhere, and then cuffed them together, and then grabbed the briefcase. I thought the finish was fantastic.
Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Finn finally gets his chance for revenge.
Let me tell you guys something about this. You ain't been watching Raw, SmackDown? This is the best Finn Balor in years.
All right.
He has been fucking great. And there is a video package. If you guys got Raw, if you got YouTube TV or whatever, you don't watch the whole show or anything like that, go find on Raw. I can't remember when it was, but if you're a super follower on Twitter, you've got my television report. But anyway, there's a video package for Finn Balor, and it is fucking amazing. The video package they do with him talking about everything over the last 7 years and hyping up this match with Seth Rollins, it's I swear to God, it's one of the best video packages in years. So you have to go watch this Finn Balor video package. And he was so great in this match. And Seth was great when he was wrestling. And, the finish was kind of a little shitty. Mm-hmm. But, I thought that the work between these two guys was just top-notch. They were great.
So this was the fastest-paced heavyweight WWE match in forever and ever and ever. Seth's the legit heavyweight. Finn's probably not. Well, he's not. But he worked with one here and fit right in. But they were going a zillion miles an hour, countering a zillion moves, hitting a zillion moves. Everything looked great. Everything's going spectacular, actually. I was going to say fine. It was going spectacular. Damian Priest saunters out with a briefcase, and Michael Cole, to his credit, points out that Seth won his first world title by cashing in Money in the Bank during another championship match. So not only could Damian do that here, but in fact, it would be a bit of poetic justice for Seth for coming back.
Hey, listen, I don't like this Michael Cole, I don't like his commentary, but he was awesome on this show. I will tell you, he was awesome from start to finish. And man, I don't even know how he made it through the show, because he was screaming like a maniac in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which was the opener on this show. I was like, how in the hell is he going to make this 3.5 hours? But he did, and he never lost energy, and he really didn't say anything that was all that irritating. I thought he did a great job on this show.
So Damian's out there, and Michael Cole points out Seth knows all about cashing in the Money in the Bank thing. So Seth leaves the ring to confront Damian. This makes sense. Seth's got to, make sure he knows what's up, make sure we know he knows what's up. But Damian just takes a seat, and suddenly Finn flies in and out of nowhere, and Seth's got the bad ribs that Finn's been working over for weeks, actually. And he drop kicks Seth into the corner of the barricade, the exact same corner of the barricade where Finn went flying into, suffered his injury that cost him this championship in the first place, or a different championship in the first place. But he shoves Seth shoves his ribs into the desk, and I had lost track of how many coup de grace foot stomps he hit on the outside, from the table, off the stairs, off the apron, to stomp these ribs, stomp these ribs, stomp these ribs. He throws them in. He goes up to the top rope. This is it. This is going to be his moment he's waited 7 years for. But suddenly, his pal, Damian, pops to his feet with a briefcase. And Finn's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he stops, and time freezes. And eventually, Finn tries the foot stomp, but Seth has had time to recover. He dodges. They do some stuff, and Seth hits one foot stomp and one curb stomp, I should say, and wins. And from the pace they had at the opening, and the fact this end came out of nowhere, it felt very much like they got their time cut. But it was great, even though it could have been a lot greater.
I don't know if they got their time cut, but when I watched it, it felt like, okay, well, we're going to run it back again, whether it's on Raw or whatever. But it looked like this was, it felt like this was not the last one, because even at the end, it's like Finn is screaming at Priest, saying, I had 7 years invested in this. And if you watch the Raw promo, I guess maybe it's over, but it felt like there's a lot more they could do with this feud. And Finn I think he did a lot to only have just this match with this finish. So I bet they do a rematch here at some point.
This was Tyler Black in ROH tonight. He was moving so fast, completely fast-paced match. Obviously, it looks like we're going to see the breakup of Judgment Day sometime very soon. It's a great match. Seth, just to be honest, seems to annoy me a lot. But no complaints tonight.
Well, his character is impossibly annoying. But once the bell rings, he's fantastic. Which makes the character even more annoying, actually, because he's so fantastic that I don't understand. I don't get it. Whatever. And then people go like, well, it's over. And it's like, yeah. And you know what? He was over before. And there was a point where he was like incredibly over until he started crying when the Fiend scared him. But people are acting like, oh, Seth Rollins, he's been here for a decade or whatever. He was never really over. But now that he's got this character, he's over. No, he was fucking over many different times during his career. And yeah, he's got a song they sing now, but it's not like this character has like just turned everything around for Seth Rollins. He's always been great, and he's always been a main eventer.
I think it's the laugh that annoys me
the laugh is
most.
Fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Main event. Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. This was basically two matches. Each one about 15 minutes. And the first one was Roman and Solo beating up these Usos forever in a plodding, methodical manner, taking their goddamn time, boring the absolute living hell out of me. I, at one point, left to take care of some business for 5 minutes. I came back. It was still going on. Didn't feel like I missed anything. I didn't bother rewinding to check what I missed. Then, 15 minutes in, there was a hot tag to main event Jay. And actually, he did run wild for her. This is where he ran wild. And suddenly, the second half of this match was awesome. They had already established, obviously, that Roman's invincible. Solo's the young invincible guy. And the Usos are trying to fight their way up the family tree. And here was, once they actually started to do that, it was a lot of fun. There's a huge four-way brawl. There's a point where Roman's running wild with Superman punches, but then it gets double speared by the Usos, and Solo has to save. We have Roman continuously trying the spear, getting cut off. We have Jimmy trying a top rope splash, getting caught in a guillotine, paying off the setup from Gunther and Riddle earlier in the show. We have the ref getting bumped in what looked like a very painful manner.
I thought he Rumpelstiltskined himself right there. I thought he split in half right down the middle.
Yeah,
but he came back later, so he was fine.
Quartered. He got pressed in the rope's crotch first.
I thought for sure he pulled something in his arm because it got caught.
No, it was his leg. It was his leg that got caught.
His arm as well.
Well, he was grabbing his groin, so I think that was the one that. Because he was half in, half out, and then someone fell on his leg, which stopped his momentum going out of the ring. And yeah, that fucking sucked.
That absolutely sucked. So the Roman and Solo recover. They do a Samoan spike / spear combo. They think they've got the pin.
Bro, this was the greatest near fall maybe I ever saw in my life. Because Roman has not been beaten in 3 years. Yeah. Drew McIntyre when they went to Cardiff, Sami Zayn. I mean, those are the two big ones, but all these matches where people think Cody at WrestleMania. So man, when they're doing this big comeback and the ref takes a bump, and first the Usos get a visual pinfall. So if you've been around for a while, like all of us, it's like, oh man, they got their visual pinfall. They ain't winning this match. And then the ref takes a bump, and then they hit the most devastating finish in all of WWE. The combo spike from Solo, who's only lost like once, and the Roman Reigns spear, who he's beaten everybody. Jay gets hit with both of these moves. He's dead. Then Roman demands, bring over that fucker. Stack him up. Just like he's done before. Remember when he stacked up? It was Edge and Daniel Bryan, and he pinned them both at the same time. So, man, he stacks them up, and these fans, do not tell me that there was one person in this audience that thought they were going to kick out. Because these fans start going, This is the first time they hijack the show. They start chanting bullshit at this finish because they're sure it's the finish. And the ref counts 1. And to the Usos' credit, these guys did not look at the ref to see the count. They just are dead. 1, 2. The fans are yelling bullshit. He goes to count 3. They both kick out. And this fucking crowd, they lost their shit for that kick out. And like to Roman Reigns' credit, he starts to cry.
Yep.
He's crying. And he's looking at it. Oh, I can't believe it. And then, Solo looks at him for a while. And then he's like, fuck, brother, we got to win. So then he starts pounding on him. And then Roman's like, snaps out of it. God damn, we got to win. That was the best fucking near fall. That one right there. Unbelievable.
The only thing you missed is when Roman starts to cry, as you said, they zoom the camera out, and there's Paul with the exact same facial expression, crying as well.
Yes.
It was awesome.
The way they have shown that even despite his 1,000 days of dominance, that Roman Reigns at heart is still very, very insecure.
Sure.
That is great, great, great stuff. It doesn't matter what he does; he will always have self-doubt. So there's that kick out, and Roman is scared at this point. He's very scared about what might happen here. He orders Solo to prep the tables, but then Solo misses a splash, puts himself through the table. He's still invulnerable. It wasn't anything the Usos did to him but move. He put himself through the table to take him out of the match. Roman is alone. He starts to realize he may be fucked, and all of London realizes, oh my God, Roman may actually be fucked now. Roman's able to hit 1 spear and get 1 near fall, but Jay kicks out. Ooh-so. There's apparently a low blow we missed during a replay. The Usos hold a...
They'd actually done it before. Roman has done this before where he kicks out and low blows the guy as he kicks out.
I see.
And so they did that to him.
So the Usos hold a super kick party. Roman's down. They hit the top rope splash. Michael Cole asks in a 2-on-2 tag match if we believe in miracles, and the referee counts 3, and Cole screams, Jay did it! Jimmy helped him! They did it!
Well, Jay got that goddamn pin because he's headlining SummerSlam.
There you go.
And, this was awesome.
The second half of this match was the absolute shit.
It was a masterpiece. The second part of this match was a fucking masterpiece. The callbacks to things that had been done years ago. And Roman getting pinned for the first time. Last time Roman was pinned, none of us had heard of COVID.
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was.
2018.
And 2019.
Or 19.
So, first half of the match, they would kind of put in time. But, it's the main event, 32 minutes. Yeah. Second half was absolutely incredible. And I loved this show. And this show was great.
This is a very, very, very fun show. And this crowd, just for one more note about how great they were, they're singing the Uso song word for word. I couldn't tell you any words of the song other than down since day one.
Well,
they know more than I do.
Passionate people.
Yes.
Passionate people.
Excellent Money in the Bank show here.
That was a great 100%.
Show. Dude, they're on a roll. What's the last bad WWE pay-per-view?
It's been a while.
It's been a long fucking time. First night of WrestleMania was incredible. Second night was still good, but not as good as the first night. And then, the Montreal show, whatever you thought of the finish, I mean, that was great. This show was great. I mean, SummerSlam in a stadium, this is going to be a great show.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, damn it. And Craig